Jerry? Yep, sure thing.
And that was the name that started it all. Jerry. The man who went from being a small tree-chopping adventurer ever so slowly, conquering his way through hardships, bloodshed, and tyranny, until he broke through such corruption and prevailed above all evil. He stopped countless evil beasts, stopped a ritual that could have ended the world, stopped 4 interstellar invasions, and finally defeated the Lord of the Moon. He had become a god. So, I had a plan. First, grab some chlorified bullets because they're super cool and they track enemies and stuff. Secondly, defeat the lunatic cultist because he's some weird dude who wants to bring the end of the world. I mean, why would someone do that? Thirdly, destroy the 4 pillars. And finally, what you've all been clickbaited by is defeat this moon kid. I don't know. He seems cool. And off I went over to the jungle. I remembered that I only had a hell forge and needed to grab myself some titanium to make a furnace able to smelt chlorifite. I didn't need much chlorifite or titanium because I had already gotten some in a previous livestream. I found some chlorifite super quickly, thanks RNG, then headed on over to my elevator down to the depths of the underworld to nab some titanium. I guess you could say hell is my second home. Oh well, moving on. As I was plummeting down into the elevator, I didn't notice some right next to me. But it didn't matter anyway, because I found some more later. When I got home, I heavily abused my journey mode privileges and duplicated the crap out of the chlorifite and titanium, and made a titanium forge and some pew pew boys for my badass shotgun, which is basically near useless, and also some bouncy boy arrows for my more useful and totally not overpowered as hell Daedalus Stormbow. All that was left to do was make some titanium armor and find the lunatic cultist. I was now faced with a great threat. 5 people, part of a cult that want to end the world. One of them has been blessed with immense magical powers that can destroy armies, or should I really say, cursed? And I was the one to fight them. I made smooth work of the regulars, and the main fight began soon after. The lunatic cultist attacks were fast and brutal, but I pushed through and fought on. I swiftly ended the battle, but one of the pillars appeared right above the previous battle. The Vortex Pillar came first, an army of alien queens, hornets and soldiers, all of them ready to take totalitarian control of humanity with their mind-controlled bugs and enforce their dystopian laws with their ruthless soldiers. The pillar shield came down and I made my attack. The vortex pillar was felled, but the fight was not over yet. I made myself a vortex beater and a phantasm and headed over to the next pillar. The second pillar was the solar pillar. Its fiery minions were giant flying snakes that will sweep you out of the sky, molten hot cavalry ready to charge, fireballs raining from the sky and spinning ground troops. These merciless beasts were prepared to scorch their way through to take over. This battle was longer than expected because of the large array of threats. But eventually the pillar shields were destroyed and the second pillar was down. With my newly found plethora of solar fragments, I made one of the most overpowered swords in the game, the Solar Eruption. The third pillar to take down was the Stardust Pillar, a swarm of bug-like alien creatures able to outnumber the enemy and contain them in their hives. Masses of gel-like spheres that multiply and conquer, ground troops that can fire a huge laser beam, mind-controlling bugs that fly around with their tendrils ready to snatch prey, and glowing worms that are able to dig through the ground and strike enemies from below. Soon enough, the Stardust Pillar shields were down and me and my Solar Eruption were ready to give the Stardust Invaders a reality check and send them back home. I headed home and made a Stardust Dragon Staff, which is also an overpowered endgame item that, as you guessed, summons a dragon that flies around and strikes down any nearby enemy. The final pillar before the fateful battle, the Nebula Pillar, an army of once again bug-like creatures that can control minds, hulking beasts that charge around with no fear of pain, and teleporting monsters made solely for deceit and fear. I have to admit, these pillars kinda do have a thing going on with mind control. Hey, Editor Geo here. While this banging montage is playing out, it seems like the best time to announce that I have a Discord. Link is in the description. It would be much appreciated if you could join it, and you'll get juicy sneak peeks and hints to new content, and obviously see some pretty snazzy memes, and also get notified when I'm streaming. Right, now that's done, on with the video. The Nebula Pillar shield was eventually broken, and I swiftly ended the invasion. And with that, my impending doom approached. The Moon Lord was ready to strike. I quickly ran home and meticulously planned the fight by getting myself an array of buff potions and healing potions. And yes, I'm not a cheat. I'm doing this without God mode. Well, I guess I've done the majority of this with God modes, but shh, shush, we don't talk about that, okay, shush. I was ready for the fight of my life, the final boss of Terraria. I ran over to my sky bridge and waited for the Moon Lord to arrive. The fight was over before it even started.
様の拳などかほどにも効かんわい。お前はもう死んでいる。何？もうは匠でひぜぶ。
Well, that happened. And off I go killing again. Approached once again, and I prepared myself for the second battle. Yep, you saw that right. I had lost twice to the Moon Lord. And yes, you guessed it, it's time to go killing again. And once again, for the final time, my impending doom approached. I again ran up to my sky ridge, and with what little I had to prepare for the fight, I had many doubts. But I won't lose again. I won't lose to him ever again. I was filled with sheer determination. In one fatal blow, the Moonlord was defeated. Well, by my Stardust Dragon while I was goofing off in my inventory. But who cares? The incarnation of all evil has been destroyed. I had become a god. I rejoiced in my newly found powers and defeated the Moonlord with a various array of weaponry again. And again. And again. And again. Oh, and again. Ah, but this time it was different because I used some kind of supercharged turbo power meth crystal that fires lasers.